What's good, guys? You're listening to Redefined Gospel Sounds with myself, Success. Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys have had a good week and all those good things. Today, I'm excited, but I'm always excited, so that's not new. We're with an incredible artist in her own right. We've got the pleasure. She's just beaming opposite me. If you guys aren't seeing the camera, she's just beaming, and I love it. It's so infectious. Like, you know when they say that somebody's smile just like lights up a room.
Oh,
that's what it is,
sweet.
and I love it. I love that for her. But we've got Sharyn in the building.
Yes.
How
Hello.
are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. I'm on annual leave from work, so I'm gonna be I was gonna say enjoying the sun, but right now it's been snowing.
It's been good. They've been giving us 4 seasons. They've been giving us hail and snow.
All 4
and
seasons.
Everything is just, please, what we're doing to this world is not okay. People are saying this is not right. Yeah. Annual leave from what job do you do?
Yes, I work part-time in the tech industry. Yeah,
Okay.
That's something that not a lot of people know about me. But
Okay.
yeah.
How did that come about? Was that something that you always wanted to do? Or as in terms of your passions?
what?
Was that a passion of yours?
Yeah, so I think growing up, I've always loved the latest piece of technology, whether it be like the latest phones or even the latest computers. But how I actually got this job was essentially more of, I was working somewhere else. I was working at a restaurant.
Okay.
And essentially, I got a group of people's orders wrong. And I tried to change their order to correct it, but they also complained to my manager. And so they changed it back to the original order that was wrong. But long story short, I was able to finesse and just kind of just joke my way, through the rest of the interaction, and just make them feel really great, even though they're waiting for a while. And we were able to comp the bill, essentially. Like, they only ended up paying for their drinks. And in the end, someone had their business card.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is it.
Hey.
This is my job gone.
Hey.
I thought they were as in one sort of food critic
your tin
or
is
something.
finished, yeah.
But they were like, no, we really loved how you handle the situation.
Yeah.
And they'll send us a CV, and here I am.
Amen.
Literally,
Let me just
almost
use
5
you
years
as a
later.
point of contact right now, Father, for those of us that were raised. Hey. Anyway, that is okay. That's really cool. So you're on annual leave. That's where you do. What have you been getting up to in general? How you been? How you been? We like to ask this question a lot.
Thank you so
been?
much. I've actually been really good. I've been in a really great headspace. I think coming out of this end of the pandemic has really allowed me to, I think, actually kind of redefine what success looks like to me.
Okay.
And what I want to do with my life. I think at certain points of your life, you kind of have these kind of crossroads, right? Where you feel like you have to make really big decisions. And I think I'm at a crossroad, but I feel really positive about it. I feel like, you know what, with whatever choices and decisions I make, I know that I don't want to make them out of fear. And that's something I've been speaking to my close friends about, but just literally just seeing what's next, I think, because now things are open, the world is open again, you can go places, there's a lot of job opportunities, so I'm really just kind of diving deeper into my different options, really. Yeah,
I love that. In terms of redefining success, what's the difference now as opposed to what it looked like back then?
I felt like before the pandemic, I felt like I was just on a go. When you you're so hungry for a certain,
There's no
goal,
time. You're
or
just
I was
gone.
just so driven to kind of, let's say in my music, because I want to make an album. This is before even my album came out, right? I was I want to achieve, do this for my album, make sure this is done. Then next step is do this, and I had all of these plans. And then we were locked out, and all my plans were in the bin. And it wasn't the fact that I still achieved a lot of those goals, but it was just in a new way. And I realized success is not about the end goal. It's actually about the journey and about you celebrating yourself. Yeah. In the process, it's not just about who you are at the end of a certain opportunity. It's about what that process of getting that opportunity, how it actually made you. Or what it made you into. I think that is what it being successful. There's a positive outcome, because now I'm more like this. Yeah. Because of this journey that I've been on.
Definitely. I feel like more people should see it that way as well. Because I think, especially in the space that we are now, I think that we're at a time where we're so quick to get to the place where we can go and slap on Instagram, guys, I did this, or you can tweet, guys, I did that. But it's like it's like the whole journey, like, you know, the whole quote, the journey is the film, like it's all been disregarded. And I feel like that's something that, you know, we kind of need to take, so that maybe your next success, maybe your next win, it might even be even smoother. You might not have to come through so many trials or whatever, but it's something that it should make you appreciate it a little bit more. But yeah, this week in general, it's been a very crazy week just in the world that's just been going on. Obviously, we had I was gonna say our boy, but I don't know who's claiming. I don't know whether you're claiming or not. It's up to personal preference. But you had Will Smith going up there and smacking a man. What's your opinion? Because people, obviously the TL was in disarray. People were saying that, you know, you had to go and defend the lady's honor. People were saying it wasn't justified. People were saying it was staged. People were pointing to Chris padding on a man's face.
And people involved themselves. Now everyone's getting cancelled.
It is very, very crazy. So what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
You know what? That moment for me was a very human moment, and it was a reminder for me of why we need God, because the Bible even says, don't let your anger cause you to sin. You know what Chris Rock said was offensive to Jada. You know, it hurt her, it hurt her family. You know, at the beginning one was laughing, but we don't know what caused his demeanor to change, and his stance did, you know. And I think it was just a very human moment. And I think for me, my opinion is not necessarily an opinion. It's just more of a fact that as humans, we are imperfect people. And in our imperfection, what happens is like Chris, you take a joke too far. Like Will, your anger has led you now to do something, to cross a line that it shouldn't have. And I think the conversation shouldn't be about sides. It's actually more about, we need to be more in control of our actions and be mindful of the certain things that we do. It's actually a lesson. I don't think there should be a conversation of who was right, who was wrong. You know, is this justified? Is it not justified? It should be a lesson for each and every single one of us. Because I think for me, what's also being missed out is like I think we as women, especially like Black women, I hear wanting to defend us because we're not, you know, in society we're not defended. But then what is the right way to defend a woman? You know? And I think that's if you want to have a conversation, that's actually a deeper conversation. And another conversation is just like, how far is too far with jokes as well? You know?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that needs to be watched in terms of, I think you said it was very much a human moment in terms of what would propel somebody to just, it's something to think like, hey, I should give him a bang. It's another thing to rise and walk and go. But it's definitely a case in point for all of us to just kind of be minded as to like where we are, especially with our emotions, like where they're leading us and all that stuff. Because I mean, me myself as a man, I can't say that maybe I would have reacted differently, or like nobody knows unless you're there in that moment. That's the thing.
Everybody's fake. I'm so sorry. I'm like, people listening, y'all are fake, okay? Everyone has saying, oh, I wouldn't do that, or I would have done this, I would have controlled my whatever. Let's bring your wife now. Let's bring your wife now.
People have done, I feel like in general, people have done a lot worse for a lot, or people have done a lot worse for a lot less, in terms of maybe you can be stuck in traffic and you're effing out and blinded, or you even want to go and step out and scrap somebody, or it's for a lot.
If we put up the cameras, y'all will say, cut the cameras,
that's what they will say. But yeah, no, that was, I think that's just as a broader point. I was just, I mean, when I saw all the stuff, I just said, no, we're actually, sometimes I feel like, God, like, is this a simulation that we're living in? Because I see these things and it's just more, I don't know. But so these are things when I get to the other side, I will ask the Lord, what's going on here? But it's fine.
And also another thing for me that made it like even sadder was the fact that it was overshadowing his Oscar win.
I know.
You know?
This was fifth Black man in 94 years or something like that. Something long anyway. Like that's, but
it was a big win for Will. And like, I'll be honest, I am a fan of his work. I'm a fan of everything that he's accomplished, not only just in film and movies and TV, but also his YouTube. This guy is a content. Uncle is a content creator. He's doing amazing. He's doing bits, you know. But it's a shame that was what, you know, that like actually overshadowed actual life like something he's been aiming for
Yeah.
or striving to, like, to achieve,
No, definitely.
this kind of recognition. And I was just like, it's so sad. But was it like, also another uncle, Denzel?
Yeah.
These are my uncles,
The elders.
These are my elders in America. So Uncle Denzel, like, he apparently, like, he said something to Will where it's when in your highest moments,
yeah, that's when
the devil comes, and again, that's another lesson for all of us as well. Like, how many of us have been in situations where we've achieved something great, but you're not looking at the win. You're like, your mind is now looking at everything else that's going wrong,
Yeah.
But you've actually done something
You've
great,
done amazing.
something really successful, but you're thinking, if only,
if
I did this,
100%.
if only that,
Yeah.
if only that. No,
100%. Anyway, enough about Will. We gonna speak about yourself. For people that haven't listened to you or they're meeting you for the first time, how would you describe yourself in terms of what you put out?
Yeah, so I would say I'm a singer-songwriter from South London. I think that where I grew up and how I grew up definitely informs my writing. And I would describe, like, the sound is very R&B, gospel, soul, but I love a bit of house, I love a bit of like pop music.
Yeah.
I love Afrobeats as well. So all of that is in those all of those genres are in my sound as well.
I was literally about to say, because we'll get onto this later, but in terms of your album In Full Bloom that you dropped last year, it was towards the end, and I was just hearing some of this. I said, I was just there bumping my head on the tube. I said, there's no way that we are hearing this in for the Lord. I said, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, in fact, no, we will pivot to that now. So that album, that is very much your masterpiece. It was really, really great. I personally enjoyed listening to it. And I think for me, somebody that, I guess, when it comes to Christian centered stuff, like, I'm very much like give me the rap or give me the worship, but like but my thing, even me now, I'm learning to just broaden my thing. So I think this was a really great, if I was gonna like introduce somebody to a sound that's not those two, like, I'll pivot them in your direction. But how did it come about in terms of just everything? Because I think when I was looking at it, I saw the title, I saw the album cover, I saw everything. Like, I can tell that you're somebody that, really, really, really put like proper thought. It wasn't rushed or anything like that. So yeah, how did that come about in terms of like the name and like just your process for like making it?
Yeah, so when I decided that I wanted to do an album, it was very interesting because I think when you're really, like, I would say I'm still really early in my career, people don't necessarily advise you to put out projects like an album. They say stick to the EPs, the mixtapes, the singles, like, and like, neither is right or wrong. It's just like just advice, that the industry will give you. But I felt like there was just a message that I had to, and I really wanted to get out there, and that is a message and a journey of growth, and of what does it look like to be whole in Christ, but it's more essentially what is that journey to wholeness? What does that look like? What does the journey to being in full bloom look like? And it was actually, a lot of those songs were birthed during the pandemic. And it was during a season when Boris was letting us here in the UK have unlimited exercise. I was loving it. I was going for walks, runs, all of the above. And it was actually interesting because, as we all know, March, April, May, that's springtime, right? And so we are literally seeing these flowers becoming in full bloom.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of how the title track came about, because I was literally like in first hand every day seeing the seasons change. And it was a very visual, beautiful experience. And then it just got me really thinking about my own life. And as I was writing each and every single song, it's just kind of different topics of my own journey that I've kind of gone through where I feel like there has been growth, and it was also really difficult because we were locked down, how I wanted to actually create the album in a very studio atmosphere.
Yeah.
Guys, us as artists, we are very particular about things. Like, we want things done in a certain way. Yeah. So it's like, for me, I wanted to record the process. You know how we get gas for like, I want to do this, that, and the other. Absolutely no way, no how that could happen because we're locked down, And so just learning how to kind of roll with the punches and having, you know, Zoom calls with my producer, Andre Fisher, and like just making that work. Like by God's grace, I was able to buy studio equipment at home. So I was recording my vocals from home. I actually was doing Instagram lives because I'm like my worst critic.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, let me actually get
See
help
what
from the
people
people
are
them,
saying.
from the, you know, the Sharyn club, like
Yeah.
see what they're saying, like the Insta fam. And I was literally recording my vocals on Instagram live. And people were like, oh, add this kind of harmony, or oh, maybe do the take again, or like, you know, just things like that.
Yeah.
And that was so much. That was such a fun part of the process as well. Was actually inviting like the fan base, my friends, my family, anyone who literally watches my lives, which is like 10 people. But but like, yeah, that was such a great experience as well. And yeah, and I really wanted to tell a story and allow people to get to know me. And so part of the visuals in the build up of the albums, like the album campaign, was, you know, like my videographer Josiah, Mr. 200M, if you know him.
Yeah.
Just asking me questions and just allowing also like the listeners to know more about me and like things that influence me, artists that inspire me, the heart behind the album. I think sometimes as artists, we live in our own world and we know what the songs mean, but it's actually really amazing when we actually invite the listener in, and to actually understand, you know, the heart of what we're trying to do and achieve. And so
I think something that I appreciated is, I guess, the vulnerability. Like you really allowed us to like or the listener, or you allowed us to kind of just enter that space with you. I think something that's consistent with the album is that the lyrics, that something, the key things I picked up here is that the lyrics, they were very much scriptural based, which we love. We do love it. And then I guess the second one is that, you know, it felt very real. It was very raw, very authentic. Where did you get that from, in the sense of it's not easy necessarily for people to be as upfront for that? I mean, you know, we're kind of going through, and you know, I'm hearing like why have you forsaken me kind of thing, and it's like oh, like I think sometimes there's a tendency, I guess, especially with artists and Christian messages that get pushed out in terms of like, like brighter days, sunny days, this is what you've done for me, but like to really take us to like the trenches. So yeah, in terms of like being like raw and real, like has that always been easy for you? Like where did that come from?
That's such a great question. I don't think being vulnerable and transparent has always been easy for me, but it's something that I've had to learn to be if I want to be a better person, because I think you're not able to really communicate your needs, wants and desires if you can't tell someone how you're feeling, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had to learn to get real when I felt like, especially when I really gave my life to Christ when I was 20, like 19, 20, and I was really struggling with letting go of my old life. And because I'm not gonna lie, I was a party girl. Like I still am, just for Jesus, you know. Like, and I really struggled, and so I had to learn to use my words to express myself as well as I could. And I think I've always been quite a poetic person anyway. When I was in primary, secondary schools, I was always writing poems. And so I just learned how to also then use my words to communicate myself. And one thing that I think with the projects and the music I make, a lot of them are actually like journal entries. Oh, okay. They're very vulnerable moments with me and God. You know, they're not all of them weren't necessarily songs that I thought would be on an album or be shared with the world. It's just, these are actually me at my rawest forms. And so it's just something that I just decided to share with other people. And then with the scripture is I think the Bible as well is very real, raw and authentic. Yeah. And I'm like, what better way to tell somebody about God but through the word of God itself?
Yeah, that's...
I think sometimes as Christians we overcomplicate it so much. It's like we're trying to, like, we got on Rhyme Zone, like we're trying to find the best words and like find synonyms and like, you know, like alternative. But like just that is a tool in and of itself. And I think as well, I also think about the kind of people who listen to my music. And there's some who actually might know who God is and some who don't. And why not allow them, their first encounter with God, be the word of God? Like they won't even know.
Yeah.
But that's even more amazing, because when they type in the lyrics into Google,
Yeah.
they're gonna find the Bible passage there word for word.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that for real. I think I know there was I was gonna pick up on something. You were talking about how obviously I guess pre-Christ you really enjoy partying and stuff, and how that's kind of pivoted to partying for Jesus, which is fine. Something that I did notice about you is that you love your live shows. You love your little concerts.
Oh.
This is me too. I love, my friends know I love a good concert. I love my live show.
Even tonight, I'm going to a gig.
Where you going?
I'm gonna go see Shaka.
Okay, me too. I'm going to a gig tonight. Me too.
Ooh.
I'm going to NSG.
Oh, yeah, NSG tonight.
Yeah.
That's
So
gonna be,
yeah, but how? First of all, where did that even start? Because in fact, even the day that when production met you, it was you were there in Sam Henshaw merch.
Yes.
So I just said, this is somebody. She is out. She is about. She's everywhere. So first of all, where, because it's not, live music is not for everybody. So first of all, where did that come from? And secondly, have you found that that's impacted like your songwriting at all, or your music at all?
Yeah, oh gosh, I love this question. So I think my love for live music actually started when like I would watch the like VHS, or when I grew up, it was VHS tapes and the DVDs of like Michael Jackson live concerts and the Janet Jackson live concerts, and then the Spice Girls as well. I think I grew up with a family that loved live music. Like it wasn't just about like we'd listen to the records, but also we'd sit and watch their tours, you know?
Yeah.
And like you watch these like 2-hour videos, and I'm like, this is incredible. Like even watching people like Band-Aid, like, you know, all the different artists coming together,
back in the day,
and they'll put on one massive concert. Like I was like, I need to be there. Like there's something like that is so spiritual, I think, when you experience music live, because you're really able to connect with the song, I think, in a deeper way and a deeper level. And like I understand why some people might say it's not for them, because let's be real. Sometimes, you know, like live events do let us down. There are technical difficulties. Some people, they're not vocally prepared. Like, you know, they're not vocally prepared. They're not punctual with their time.
Speak on that.
There's so many things that factor into not making a live gig like as a good
or as good as it should be.
Exactly. Yeah. But when it's done right, for me, it trumps it trumps whatever we hear on this Spotify, the Apple Music, the streaming platforms. It's better.
There are certain songs. Better. I think just in general, like I obviously the back end of last year going to like WizKid and stuff. There are certain songs, or just in general, there are certain songs that I listen to that like I can't listen to the same. Like I can't listen to them the same. It's not the same. Yeah. What's the best concert that you've been to?
Oh my God, don't ask me such a question.
I have to ask you such a question.
You know what? I'm gonna say it's not Beyonce. I've seen Beyonce, and it's not her. Like,
it's not Beyonce.
Because I'll be honest, I think Beyonce is an incredible performer, her arrangement and bands and everything. But for me, the dancing is all too distracting. Like I'm here for the music. I'm not here for the thrills. Yeah. And you know, obviously Beychella, that was phenomenal, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm an arrangement babe. Like I'm not even. I'm sorry, Queen Bee. I'm not looking for you. I'm looking for your band. I'm a musician at heart, so I'm looking for your band. So I would say, I'm not even gonna lie. You know, this is gonna be really big. I want to say some like Sam Henshaw's. You know, that one was amazing, and because he had a worship, like spontaneous worship at the end as well.
Yes, I was seeing their clips.
I said, let us worship God.
It was looking oily.
And I said, let us be unashamed of the gospel right now. and it was amazing because he's got actually a very diverse like fan base as well. Yes. A very, very diverse fan base as well. And so like it was amazing as well, because depending on what kind of church you grew up in and the kind of Christians you have around you, you might have Christians that look a certain type of way, you know, or who fit a certain bubble and box or a certain denomination. But this was amazing to see people of all race, colour, age, with their hands lifted up, worshipping God. It was a very beautiful moment. But that aside, the band, shout out to them. they were like incredible, and like every song slaps. His new album Untidy Soul is fantastic. But one thing that I will say as well is like people don't really think of it like this, is that we actually do have live music events every week on a Sunday at church. You know, that is live music.
Yeah.
It's like some people, but they don't see it like that because it's church.
Yeah.
You know, they don't see it like that. So when they say they don't like live music, because I'm like, so you don't enjoy praise and worship at church? That's basically what you're telling me.
Yeah. Then the other thing was like, how has that informed your music, if at all? Like, do you like? Are there any elements that you think of, or like,
Yeah, I try to make sure that like whatever we do on production, we can replicate in real life, because that's really like important, especially vocally as well, because I can be doing all kinds of riffs and notes and like trills and all of that stuff, but when it comes to showtime, I can't replicate it, you know. So I make sure that we can replicate it in real life, and also that we have like I use it as much, especially in my album, we use as many live instruments as possible, just to also help bring the tracks to life.
Previously, you've spoken about the fact that, I guess, in terms of like the live music scene, because you don't do rap, or the rap, we've not heard you rap yet. You don't do rap. You don't really do worship like that. It's different, and those are like the two most, I want to say, like readily available things that kind of do live. So like how have you found that, or how do you think that's going to go for you in terms of like doing stuff live?
I think I'm still navigating it, because I think there's also a part of me that has to push myself out of my comfort zone. I think as people, we can be very entitled and think opportunities must come to us.
Yeah.
But I also have to be bold enough to go for opportunities. And I've actually, one thing that I'm really reflecting on is actually not every opportunity that I go for in terms of live events has to be a Christian event.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because those are not the only kind of people I'm trying to reach or get to or listen to my music. I'm trying to get my music out there to the world, whether you call yourself a believer or not. This song can still bless you or touch you, you know. And I think as well, I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone in that sense of where like some of the events that I can take part in that have similar sounding artists, you know, they might not be the Christian events, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm now kind of like looking them up, researching them, going to find them, and but there are also more companies and more Christian events that are coming up. Like, for example, Big Church Day Out is a great example of a really great platform for alternative Christian artists that don't just lead praise and worship but want to perform. Like, they have so many opportunities there as well. I know Gospel Hydration have started something called Refresh Nights, which is once a month, and like that's also another place. So there are avenues and spaces. It's just really like me putting myself out there, but also there's people creating more of these opportunities for artists, I think.
Literally, I think it's as much as, I think on one hand it's you've got, you know, as you said, like yourself trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and then secondly, it's a thing of like visibility and like allowing like people to be seen and heard, which I thought was really important. I saw that you started a Bible in a Year plan.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Oh, child.
We all want to know.
I'm like 56 days behind. And that is a tea. But you know what? Like I'm trying, like I'm catching up with it. And I think the reality of the Christian walk is you have to be really disciplined. Yeah. Like with your walk with God, right? And I think there's someone once said like discipline carries you when motivation can't. Yes. And I think like that's something that I'm trying to be way more disciplined in my walk, and that includes like trying to finish reading the Bible in a year. But it's been so interesting because like the app that I'm using, it chops between different chapters, like different books.
Is it the standard U version? Or is it another?
It's the U version, but like it's a type. You know, like they all have like
the way they do it is a bit
You have like different companies that post their
do
plans.
Their own different
exactly.
Yeah, you see January 1st, you just see like 10 different people come up babbing it. Yeah.
And so like for example, I'm currently reading through Job, John, and Acts, and it's been It's like, it's such a weird
That's
combination,
weird.
but it's been very beautiful. For example, like when you read like the book of Job across, and you're obviously seeing Job and his brethren, and they're going back and forth about essentially what Job has done wrong. Like, because Job is basically saying, I ain't sinned against God. God
Yeah.
is moving a bit mad.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other, and then Joe's mates are basically saying, "What do you mean? Like, you've obviously done something wrong for you to lose everything."
Yeah.
Then, you know, and then another guy is like, "I think you guys have actually are viewing God in the wrong way."
In the wrong way, yeah.
And it's been such a beautiful thing to kind of read as well, because like how many times is that all of us, like, people have gone through seasons of loss, of suffering, and then you're like, God, I've done nothing to hurt you, to hurt your children, your people. I've followed you, I've done this, and then people are saying, you must have sinned, you must have done this, you must have done that. But actually sometimes it's actually just about our perception of God and who God is. God is not a genie that grants your every wish
At all. And
yeah.
and I feel like of course God is, I think that your relationship with God will always be limited by like how you view him. So if you see I was about to say, if you see my man, God. But if you see God as a genie, then your whole perception, like your whole relation to him is, oh my gosh, like this genie's not doing anything for me. But if you see him as like all the things that he is, and that's all the things in our own like limited understanding, like that's obviously that's what will come through for you. I wanted to kind of pivot. We're going left, right, all in between. Have you, because obviously you said that 19, 20, that was kind of like when you came to Christ. Did you want to, in terms of like you being musically inclined, did you want to do that before then? And if you were, like, was the songwriting like not Christ inspired, or was it since? Yeah, how did that come about?
Listen, when I was like 17, I was trying to be the next Adele. Okay,
See,
I was trying to write my own Somebody Like You.
Yeah, the rolling in the deep was there. It was
rolling.
Delivered. Yeah,
I was trying to set fire to the rain.
Yes.
I was writing songs about my hometown.
Yes,
I said,
them.
yeah. But the difficult thing was, like, for me, I'd never been in love.
Mm.
So I was waffling. Like, I like, my songs are really bad, but it was just the fact that there was just no truth to it, to what I was writing. And I think that's what I was really struggling with, I think, when it came to me trying to write music. But at the same time, growing up, I watched a lot of, Pop Idol, X Factor.
Oh my gosh.
Back in Stars in Your Eyes. So
yeah.
So I thought as well that, like, the only way me, a girl from Peckham Ends, can actually become a singer was to go down one of those routes.
Yeah.
And that terrified me, because I didn't like how so quickly you're thrown into the public eye. And that's something that I'm still juggling with now, even on my small Instagram. Like, the fact that, like, over 300, 400 people, like, watch my story, it shakes me. I'm like, are you guys bored? Are you jobless? Like, why are you, like, preaching my story? But it's because that's what online is. It's media. It's public information now, right? And so, but, like, from a young age, that's always scared me. And so that's why I was like, I don't think those shows are for me, because I don't want to just be thrust into the spotlight just like that. And so it kind of was just a pipe dream that died. And, like we spoke about earlier, then the whole thing of maybe I should do medicine and do sciences.
Yeah.
And even my family was shocked. They're like, are you sure? Like, it's not by force. No one is saying that you have to do like sciences. But I was like, no, it felt like the more realistic, the good route to go to secure like a good job, like just to take that safe route. So
then for you, when was the point that you were like, okay, like, let me still be commanding this music, even if it's not on X Factor? When, like, where was that for you?
Listen, that was God. It was God, because so after, like, so during my last year of my degree, right, I thought I was going to be a teacher, because I was doing my biology degree. I said, yeah, I love young people. I think teaching is the right track for me. But in my last year, God was just like, yeah, I don't really need to apply for any jobs. I said, are you sure? Like, this is not sounding correct. It's not sounding like the right thing to do. And it was in that year and the previous year that I started to write a lot more songs. And essentially, I really was going through a really hard time. And I ended up writing a song, which was my first single, called Beautiful Saviour. And I posted it on Facebook with my family. They say I made them sing it. I say I taught it to them. Like, it's a We will never know the truth.
We will never know.
We will never know the truth. He said, she said, okay. But we ended up recording a video of my family singing it and posted it on Facebook, and it went Facebook viral.
Hey.
And this is like 2000.
That was before. That's Facebook viral. That means something. That
this
meant
is like
something.
2017. So this is like,
that had weight.
Yeah, this is when Facebook still had weight, and before metaverse and everything like that. And so my friend, she saw it and she was just like, I need this song on my iTunes. So in Southampton, like, I knew a producer, someone hook you guys up and pay for your session. And the rest is history. Like, it was literally just a God-ordained thing of where someone saw something in me and invested in me. And if that is not the hand of God, then I don't know what is. Because if she hadn't, I think, just seen the potential in me, I think that a lot of like my songs would have just been just in my storehouse, just there, you know. But I don't think one is right or wrong. By the way, I think there's something very beautiful in the way that in our relationship with God we have these intimate moments. But I felt that God really just wanted the world to hear it. Yeah,
that's awesome. I think. And even with that, I think it's so good that, you know, and, you know, we've got to thank God for these people that that are placed in our path in terms of helping us to push the dreams and things and the plans that God has for us, because I think that's something that I always pray for in terms of, like, you know, I come into contact with people that I can help, or that people or people that have the ability to help me. And I guess there are people that are perhaps waiting for that person who, if you're listening, they are coming, but it's just in due time. But I think it's really beautiful how just people will say bad chance, but it wasn't. And people will just say that that's how you were just able to come into contact with that person. And I feel like that's a really, really awesome thing.
One thing I'll add as well, though, is like, this is more for people listening, is like, as much as someone invested in me, I always had to take the next step, because, like I said, it was only one session. Yeah. And how many songs have I released since? You know? And I think sometimes it's like people were constantly waiting for that helping hand, but you also have to get up and walk, you know? You have to have that faith and believe that you are meant for greater, that you actually can achieve and accomplish something. Yeah. These are just like, people are just here in our lives just to provide the stepping stones, but you have to step up them. And so I think as well, like, sometimes we're all waiting. Sometimes we're all sitting waiting for that investor, that dream person, like a dream situation or the dream job, or if only I had this, then I can do this, this and this. It's like, but you can also use what you have. So don't be afraid to start from where you are.
Literally. And I think obviously where you are, that's all you have, and that's enough. I was literally speaking to a friend today, and she was just speaking about how about the importance of, you know, you just being ready when the time comes. I feel like for you to be in that position as well, that's half the battle. Doing that's half the battle. And
so true.
I like telling my friends that just in terms of whatever they've gone, but of course, like pertaining to music, like 7 times 0 is 0. So it's like, as much as other people can come and invest, as much as, like, you know, like God is there, like God is there in position to do what he needs to do. Like, fam, if the thing is that my man, the bedroom with one talent, and he was there, and my man came back, and the one talent was there. Like, there's only so much that you can say. But the most pertinent thing is that, you know, that the talent is there within you. So it's just like, okay, cool. Like, what have you got to do with it? And I feel like you're a great example of someone, you know, talent was there. They just did what they had to do, and here you are now, which is a really, really cool thing. So the question I like asking everybody, and definitely so for you, is what can we see for you, from you, for the rest of the year? What's coming
big
up?
Question is, all I'm gonna say is I'm working. All I can say is I'm working, and yeah, like right now I'm just writing. We're like a lot of songs are in production right now. So that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Love that. Because we were even speaking about live shows, and when is your live show, Sharyn?
I'm working. I'm working. I think that's a dream of mine, most definitely. So hopefully, you know, no matter how big or small, I'll definitely want to perform this year, whether it be my own or with somebody else. We just have to wait and see.
Cool. Love that very, very much. And then where can we find you? Because you've been dropping gems left, right, center. So yeah, so in terms of whether that's, I don't know if you do life advice, wisdom on that, your Insta story, I don't know. But for advice, wisdom, music and everything in between, where can people find you? Where can we reach you?
You can find me on Instagram at Sharyn Official. My name is Sharyn, SHARYN, and then the word official on Instagram and also on Twitter. If you want to hear my thoughts, my opinions, my inner desires, and just my recklessness, you'll find me on Twitter at Sharyn Official as well.
Cool. That is very, very wavy. All that is left is to thank you for this episode. This has been great. I will say this every single time, but this has genuinely been great. I've had so much fun. And I know that regardless of where this is going, I know that people are going to be blessed by what's been said today. Someone's definitely going to be touched. So thank you. You've been lovely to have on.
Yeah, thank you. And you're very easy to talk to as well, which makes this amazing.
Oh, thanks. You didn't have to. Guys, she didn't pay me, by the way. She didn't pay me. I didn't pay her to say that. I didn't pay her to say that. So that's fine. No, but we thank God still. But yeah, that is it. You have listened to another episode. Catch us on Instagram at the RGS Podcast to keep up with this episode, content, and all things in between. But that's it. So take care of yourselves. Good vibes. Say less. Don't stress. God bless. Peace.
You are now listening to Redefined Gospel Sounds.
Here we are, yet again. We've got another guest in a cut. We've got another the same set of quick fire questions. So I'm literally gonna fire questions at you. And yeah, you're just gonna give me the realness.
I'm nervous.
So yeah, no, don't be nervous. It's good. Everyone that comes through is always nervous, but it's actually always calm. Okay, cool. So our first one is your favorite Bible verse.
Oh, probably Philippians 4:6. Yeah.
Sturdy. That is you won't go. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
An artist that you'd like to work with.
An artist that I would like to work with, the first one that comes to mind was actually Tori Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that you'd like Christians to do better.
Practice what they preach.
Not too shabby. Your favorite song that you've released so far?
Psalm 91.
Okay. And lastly, if God was sitting right next to you, what would you ask him?
Am I going to get married or not?
Fair's in it. All right, cool. We're out.